This week in the Scottish Parliament, MSPs will be debating the Scottish budget. The Scottish budget in total is over £37 billion, which is a considerable amount of money. Local councils are saying they're being cut, and as a result of those cuts, we are seeing real cuts to our frontline services. The Scottish Government are saying that councils are getting an increase. So who is right and who is wrong? We need to look at that, because the one thing that is certain is you don't need to listen to politicians anymore. You can see for yourself the cuts that are taking place in local communities. The cuts that are taking place to schools, to classrooms, to children's education. People trying to get social care packages can't get those social care packages. They keep trying to change the eligibility criteria to try and save money. People out there are suffering. We are seeing cuts to leisure facilities such as swimming pools, cuts to parks, cuts to council maintenance services, cuts. So who is right and who is wrong?
I want to try and set out, and it will take a bit of time, but I want to try and set out what these budgets actually mean. The body representing Scottish local government argue that there is, in fact, a real terms cut. The Scottish Government, Derek Mackay, as we'll see, argues that councils are getting a good deal. So where does the truth lie? Well, firstly, if you look at this graph here, it shows you that in terms of the Scottish Government budget, since 2013, that budget has been cut as a result of failed Tory austerity by 0.8%. The local government budget has been cut over that same period by 7.2%. So there's no doubt that local government has taken a much greater hit of failed Tory austerity than the rest of the Scottish Government budget. Total Scottish Government revenue budget is £37,385,000,000. Over 14 billion of that, 14,222,000,000 is for health and sport. Local government comes in next with a budget of just over 11,800,000,000. And then the total budget, excluding both these big spend areas, the rest of the Scottish Government budget is 11,200,000,000 or over 200,000,098. So that's a total budget. So there's a lot of money there to be dealt with, and yet we see that frontline services are being cut. For detail of the budget, this is the budget book, but you'll get that online at the address on this video. So if we look at that budget itself, we know local government is under massive pressure, but if we look at the spending plans of the Scottish Government, and it's the argument that Derek Mackay made when he came to the Local Government Committee, he argued that he had brought forward his priorities for local councils.
Of course, and there are also priorities and choices to be made as well. There might be some things that are less important to government, there might be some things that are less important to local authorities as well. But when it comes back to what we choose as priorities, I tell you again what COSLA told you this morning. They are excellent priorities. That was the words of the resources spokesperson from COSLA. They are excellent priorities. They are priorities we support. I don't think it's an unreasonable place to be for the Scottish Government to say, our priorities are those, and COSLA happen to think they're excellent priorities as well. But it will potentially mean deprioritisation of other things. It's not for me to say every element of a local authority's budget, but that which we have set out, has been clear and transparent and set out in the budget document, set out in my statement.
All good things to happen. But there is no new money being brought forward to councils to implement this. Mr Mackay says that councils need to deprioritise, but deprioritising frontline education, deprioritising delivery of schools, delivery of libraries, delivery of youth and community services, deprioritising swimming pools, leisure facilities. That's the reality of where we're at. So there needs to be, I think, a more grown-up discussion between local government, the Scottish Government, and a bit of truth about what these cuts actually mean. Well, the fact is that the Scottish Government have announced £400 million of new commitments without putting a penny in to pay for those commitments. So the extension of early years and childcare is a great thing. Nobody's going to disagree with that. But that costs £234 million. So councils will have to cut their budgets elsewhere in order to pay for that £234 million. £12 million for councillors going into schools. We all know that there's a need for councillors in schools given the issues of mental health in young people. But the Scottish Government say these new councillors will go in. Not one penny more have they added. Therefore, other services have to be cut to pay for that. And that's the problem with this almost dishonest debate that's taking place. Scottish Government say we'll do whatever. It's a bit like, imagine if you were at home and you were wanting to buy a new washing machine, your washing machine breaks down, but you've not got the money, and you just say your neighbour will pay for it. Somebody else will pay for it. That seems to be the way that the Scottish Government, the SNP, are approaching this budget. We'll do all these things, but somebody else will pay for it. Well, ultimately, you'll pay for it, because these cuts are having a terrible impact on local services, local communities, the third sector. People are losing their jobs all over Scotland as a result of these cuts. We're paying for an SNP budget that simply does not stack up, does not add up, and no person running a household budget would dream of taking this approach. Something's seriously wrong and we need to address it. So I would finish by saying this to you. The politicians can argue back and forward with each other, we can blame each other for the budgets, but one thing is clear, people right across Scotland, in every community in Scotland, are starting to see what these council cuts are doing to frontline services. We have to stand up for frontline services. We need to defend strong local government. And I would urge people, no matter what political party you're in or you support, no matter what your view is on the Constitution, don't allow councils to be cut in this way, because it's people and communities that are suffering.